Hi everyone, I'm Mpeg, a novelist, Questline founder and educator, creator of character-based gamification and spiritual gamification. Did you at some points in your life ask yourself these questions? What do I want to do? What do I really want to do? I believe everyone did. For me, I asked many times these questions, and I revisited this question recently. And I decided to become a spiritual educator using gamification. And thus, a brand new Quest Life was born. This is my first Quest of Life vlog, which I'll be sharing to you my amazing experiences and the secrets that I uncovered on my journey on self-awareness, to awakening, and then to spiritual awakening, and now heading towards my mission in life. First, ask yourself, what do you enjoy the most? In 2015, I asked myself this question. I turned off all my mobile devices and computers and stayed in my house for one day to ponder this question. What do I enjoy the most? For me, it comes naturally. Games. I like to play games. However, the last game that I played was not a very good experience because my game account was being hacked. My 3 years, day and night, all my effort in leveling up the characters were all gone. But later, I realized it was a blessing in disguise. Because if my game account hadn't been hacked, I would not go and explore into gamification. I asked myself back then, if life or career is like a game, then that will be very fun and exciting. So I created Game of Life. Then I realized what I'm doing is called gamification. I studied and researched more about gamification. Until now, it's almost 6 years. And I created character-based gamification and recently, spiritual gamification. A lot of good things I learned about games. I learned about myself through games. I recalled I always pick a healer or a cleric avatar in games. So I realized this gave me some hints to what I really want in my life. Maybe some kind of healer or cleric. Then I created my own mantra, which is I teach what I create to heal. So this idea is true. My years of playing game, which I like to pick a healer or a cleric character. Second, the answer lies in coincidences, or more often called synchronicity. I began to see synchronicities in my surrounding in 2018. And until now, I still see synchronicity everywhere. My first synchronicity was not angel number, but a very famous and talented person. His name was Michael Jackson. And take a look. I happened to find this book. I will share more about this book in my next video. In August 2018, that was my first Michael Jackson synchronicity encounter. I was invited by a professor to a Caliquan in Penang. It was a 3 to 4 days event and supposed to stay in their apartment unit in the educational organization itself. And that's where all educators also gather over there. I was invited to go there to have a talk on gamification for education to the educators, and also share on my first book how I finished my first book, which is on gamification. So I met up with this Indian professor. I still can recall, I think in the second day of the event, after my talk, right, we have a long chit chat over the dinner, and then after that, we continue on her apartment unit. So I think that one is quite late already. I think it's 11 plus at night. And then she just randomly talked about Michael Jackson. But I was like very clear. I asked her, at that point of time, I also don't know why I was so clear that I immediately asked her, hey, why you say Michael Jackson? I even told her that before I came to this trip, right? One day before I came to this trip, right? I watched Michael Jackson bio video, in YouTube. So she also don't know why she suddenly talk about Michael Jackson. Then, and I can't remember what's the context about also. Then I think, okay, so maybe it's some coincidence, right? Purely some coincidence. So okay, I said, okay, never mind. Then after that, she's guiding my ex-business partner on some meditation. Then while she's doing meditation, so both of them closing their eyes. So for me, I was there also might as well. I also enjoying the meditation, right? So the moment I close my eyes, right, I start to hear someone on the top floor, right, dancing, right, very loud noise, some dancing, jumping, dancing like that. And then I was like, okay, so in the middle of night, so late, still dancing, never go sleep. So I was like, okay, should I open my eyes and ask them, hey, they all heard the noise? But then I chose to ignore and then focus on the professor meditation. So the meditation is quite long because she was chanting what light shine on the head, and then until on the light shine on the shoulder, until the light shine on the feet, right? Then after that, the whole body light shine. And then the moment I want to open my eyes, right, the noise just stopped abruptly, just stopped. Then I was like, okay. So I look at them, they look at me, I ask them, do you all heard the noise? Then luckily they said yes. Okay, they said yes. Then I said, okay, I think it's time to rest. We call it for a day. So we went back to our unit and So that's my first encounter. But then the next day of the event, right, that's where Michael Jackson synchronicity began to get intense. So the next day, is like a gathering of educators, some discussion, and I overheard a professor asking someone, hey, what you think about my paper? Should I put Heal the World by Michael Jackson? That was like, hey, what Michael Jackson again? So I again said, purely some coincidence, nothing much. Then after that, because that time was my first time went to Penang, so the professor was very nice. She go and arrange a driver, bring us, those who first time came to Penang to have a tour, right? So to have some very nice food in Penang and also visit the temples, all this. So the moment I went into the car, right, so I saw a Chinese driver, so I expect a Chinese name, right? So I asked him, what's your name? So he actually replied me, his name is Michael. Then I'm like, okay. So at the first time, I still didn't aware about this Michael again. So very strange. After the trip, right, I want to thank the driver. So I said, what's your name again? So he said, my name is Michael. Then okay. So the second time when he said, I was like, okay, Michael, why Michael again? But then after that, right, yeah. So my ex-business partner told me that, okay, that day when we heard the sound, right, is actually Michael Jackson's birthday. They were like, okay. Then after that, subsequently, it get more intense. I start to see Michael Jackson in the library. So library is another interesting one. So I went to Tampines Library. So the place is very huge, right? I think it's newly built or renovated. So I went there, and then I was walking, and then I feel there's a book calling me. In the library there's a lot of books on display, right? But it's very far apart because the place is so huge. Right? So I was walking, and then suddenly I stopped. I feel like a book is calling me. So then I take a look, right? I said, okay, it's Michael Jackson book on the display. So I borrowed that book. The book title is called Before You Judge Me. I get some understanding, also some message from there. Yeah. Three days I take Grab, right? The moment I went into the Grab car, right, the first thing I heard is Michael Jackson song in the radio. Still a lot more. There's a lot more. Like I went into a bookstore. I was just randomly picking some Chinese book. So I was like flipping. It's not about Michael Jackson book. It's just a random self-help book. So when I flip, right, I saw that Michael Jackson Chinese word over there on one of the page. So there's just a few of the example. And then also one very good one is in 2019, I think in December 2019, I went to Finland, and even Finland I saw Michael Jackson. So in one of the hotel breakfast buffet, right? So I was sitting in one of the table. So just next to me, there's a person putting a book very near to me, because next to it, the table. So I was able to see, what's the book? So I take a look, it's Michael Jackson, the book of Michael Jackson. But I forget what's the title already. So there's a lot of very interesting synchronicity encounter. But there's one make my hair all stand is when I do a research on gamification, which is on character-based gamification. And actually, character-based gamification is also being guided to me by Michael Jackson. Why I say that, right? Because after the trip, right, and then my ex-business partner actually sent a paper on gamification for education, and it's actually written by Michael Jackson. So I will show it in the video. Yeah, can you see? Yeah. What is the message that I get is focus on character-based gamification. Michael Jackson, right, is guiding me to do on character-based gamification, not other gamification. Another handstand Michael Jackson synchronicity encounter is when I was doing research on character-based gamification among the students, and I happened to interview an Indian student, and his answer caught my attention, right? His answer on one of the questions caught my attention. So the question asked is, what kind of music do you listen to? So he replied he usually listens to Tamil song, except one singer, Michael Jackson. So I was like, oh, Michael Jackson again. So I could, the first question I asked is, do you think Michael Jackson was talented? So he replied, of course. he's talented. Then I asked in what way he's talented. So he told me moonwalking, so I know moonwalking. Yeah, but he said not just only moonwalking, his foot tapping. So when he said foot tapping, right, I was like, okay, my hair all stand. Yeah, so I was like telling you all, right, so my hair now all stand up also, even till now. Yeah, so because immediately I associate to that day in the apartment unit, right, you know, I heard that noise on the top floor, right, so immediately I associate. The message that I received from Michael Jackson is to tell me to focus on character-based gamification. Through character-based gamification, I start to understand who am I through the game characters archetypes. But then, Michael Jackson's synchronicity continues on. So the first part is really self-awakening, understand about myself, understanding who I am, what I want to do. But the second part of Michael Jackson's synchronicity is spiritual awakening. So that's when I completed my first novel in June this year. Immediately the next day, I was like spiritual awakened. So I'll be sharing to you all this in my next video. And not forgetting this one, I'll be sharing to you what's the message Michael Jackson is telling me. Okay, so I'll be sharing all this in the next video. But before that, I want to share with you the secrets that I uncovered in my first Quest of Life vlog. So here you go. Secrets that I uncovered in my Quest of Life journey. Synchronicity is the true measure of self-awareness. Self-awareness of who you are will lead you to synchronicities. And synchronicities will lead you to know what you want to do. Before you know what you want to do or what you really want to do, first you need to know who you are. In order for you to find out who you are, you can go and download Quest Life mobile app in Apple Store or Play Store for free. You will know about yourself through game character archetypes. So I will put the links in the description. And that's all. Take care and I will see you in the next video.